Gagne. Make it Ian Armstrong. And from the faceoff, puck skims in behind the Baltimore goal. Tracked down by Albrecht deep in the right corner. Now Albrecht up the boards at his own line for Armstrong. Ian Armstrong to the Hershey line. Glove down by Murphy on the defense. On left wing at center for Al Hill. Backhanded behind the Jacks goal. Covering is Albrecht. Pinned to the backboards by Lofthouse. They jostle for it there. Hill arrives late on the scene to wrap up. No, directly behind the Baltimore goal, and they'll pin it. No further play. 23 seconds have gone by in the opening period, and the game is scoreless from the Baltimore Arena. Wendell Young and goal to our left for Hershey, and he has been a standout against the Jacks. 2 wins and a tie in 4 games, and he has a goals against average of a glistening 0.9. Terry Perkins was a late scratch tonight. The reason he is suffering from some severe back pain. And it happened when he slid into the goal post. You may recall late in that game last night in the third period. Remember, we described it. He was very slow in getting up. That occurred with 2 seconds left in the period when Tony Kellum cracked him into the net. Now from the faceoff on the Baltimore right boards. Lomo checked by Kyprios, who sends in behind the goal. Covering is Hoover. Hoover deep by the right corner. Checked by Lamoureux, who steals. Now Lamoureux in the corner. Squeezed by Hoover, recovering rapidly. Covering behind the goal, Shed left wing boards for Julian. Julian across on right wing for Lomo was weak. Blocked by Maxwell, reaching the Baltimore line. Checked on the defense by Julian, controlled by Lomo. Byron Lomo on left wing at center. Sailed it in behind the goal. Young drove it around the boards. Past Kyprios on left wing at the Hershey line. All the way in behind the Jacks goal. Tracked down by Bob Kennedy, handling it up on right wing at his own line for Shedden. Nowhere near him. All the way down ice. Benvez to reach it behind the Hershey goal. And the Jacks are called for icing at the 1:16 mark. First period action here at the Baltimore Arena. And the game is scoreless with the Jacks riding the crest of a 4-game unbeaten streak, representing their longest of the season. The faceoff will be circle right of Gordon in the Jacks goal. This is Gordon's 26th game, a record of 6-12-3, and a goals against average of 4.75. Chuck Brimmer in uniform tonight, replacing the injured Terry Perkins, who sustained a back injury with 2 seconds remaining in the game last night here against Binghamton. Now Jacques Mayotte deep in his left corner, directs it opposite corner for Graham Bonner. Now Bonner, surrounded by 2 Bears, headmans it to his own line sharply for Steve Seguin, romping to center. Seguin with the Hershey line left circle, shoots, stick save Young. Rebound along the left wing boards for Graham Bonner. Bonner centers for Seguin. Right in front for Bonner with a shot right through the crease. Mayotte failed to convert on the right side. Puck back to center zone. Controlled by Bob Kennedy on the right side. He sends Jacques Mayotte charging after it deep in the offensive left wing corner. He was crunched though by Benvez, contained no right point by Kennedy with a shot. And Bonner in front deflected it wide. Rebound top of the left circle for Mayotte. Mayotte along the boards, checked by Biggs, covering behind the Hershey goal is Sable. Drove it around the left wing boards for Fitzpatrick in his own line off his stick to center. Kennedy drove it back to the Hershey line. Sable on a second effort, controls it center and left wing. His pass at the Baltimore line was knocked back into Hershey territory by Seguin. Covering behind the goal, Murphy, Armstrong in hot pursuit. Now Gordon Murphy at his own line, gathering speed at center. Drove it off the Baltimore corner boards. Into the right corner there for Lofthouse. Entangled by Miller. It's loose though behind the goal. Seized by Al Hill. Hill centered it. The shot by Murray right through the open side of the crease. Rebound to the Baltimore right boards. Armstrong clears the zone. Then takes it back from the Hershey defense. Sends it into the Bear zone. Controlled deep in the right corner there by Murphy. Now Gordon Murphy up on right wing at center for Mike Murray in full flight. Over the Baltimore line, he lost control, but he digs it out in the right corner. He tried to direct it right point for Murphy, halted by Miller, who intruded on that mission. Keith Miller clears ahead. At center on left wing for J.F. No. He drifts it into the Hershey left corner. Steve Smith is on it. Up the boards at his own line for Hill with the Jacks changing. Hill cross ice for Lofthouse, leaving it on the right side for Murphy at his own line. And Gordon Murphy headmanned it over 2 lines on right wing to Mike Murray at center. And the Bears are called on the offside No further play at the 3:24 mark opening period, and the game is scoreless from the Baltimore Arena, where the Jacks are winless in 7 straight games at home against this Hershey club, spanning back to last season. It's been 1 full calendar year since the Jacks last trumped the Bears here at home. 6 defeats and a tie. The tie occurred on New Year's night here this season, 1-1. From the faceoff along the left wing boards for Sable. Sable at his own line in the middle at center for Don Biggs, leaving for McCarthy, the trailer. Kevin McCarthy reaching the Baltimore line on the left wing, the centering pass halted by Larry DePalma. He tears to center over the Hershey line, forced wide of the boards by Sable. Boy, DePalma just forearmed Sable to the ice with a very robust, lusty effort, but it's covered in front of the goal by the Bears. McCarthy in the middle at center for Maxwell, reaching the Baltimore line. The shot muffled by the Jacks defenseman Hoover, covering behind the goal Sagan. And Steve Sagan drove it around the left wing boards, down ice. They'll nullify icing. Sable rounds the net on the left side, the former University of Wisconsin ace. Sean Sable in the middle at center for Kiprios, crossing the Baltimore line, and Kevin Maxwell is offside on the left wing. He with 11 goals in 11 games against the Jacks. No further play. 15:46 left, first period. The game is scoreless. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Face-off outside the Jacks line below us on their left wing. The game scoreless. Jacks have won only one of the last 15 collisions between these two clubs. Dave Fenvez on left wing at center. Winds it around the Baltimore backboards into the right circle for Rupe with a shot. And Gordon in the low crouch through a screen, kicked that one over the glass into the crowd. No further play. Magnus Rupe, the Swedish import, the rookie who began the season with Philadelphia. He essayed a goal and 2 assists last night in the Bears' 5-0 dismissal of Springfield in Chocolatetown. And Rupe hid that shot in a screen in the right circle, and Gordon flexed the pad at the last split second and kicked it over the glass into the crowd. Face-off circle left of him in the Jacks goal. Lomo lost at the Lamoureux to the right point for Fenvez. The screen shot didn't make it through. Deflected in behind the goal by Kennedy and controlled up on left wing by DePalma at his own line. His pass was halted center circle by Fitzpatrick. On the left side for Rupe. He was really thumped, and back comes Shedden romping over the Hershey line. He created on goal. The shot, he scores! No goal! No goal, and Shedden is hurt. Doug Shedden went crashing into Young and into the goalpost, and he muscled the puck home. The red light was flashed, and Doug Shedden, lying on his back, is writhing in anguish. The last skipjack. He stands alone as the last skipjack to play every game this season. And it appears that he has sustained an injury. While Mitch Lamoureux now has suddenly obscured our vision.
No skipjack goal.
The net was off its moorings. And that's why the goal has been disallowed. And Jack's alternate captain, Claude Julien, disputes the call. Shedden is back out of skates. It appears to be his right knee. Always the knee. And Shedden will skate in a very gingerly-like fashion back to the Skipjack bench. Doug Shedden, who's on a 3-game goal-scoring streak, snapping 4 goals in that span, the latter 3 on power plays. The lone Skipjack, he stands alone as the last Skipjack to play every game this season. And he hobbles into the Skipjack bench, flexing the right knee. And the natives here are growing restless. Mick Magoo, the referee, is not one of the more popular citizens to grace the Baltimore Arena. Face-off outside the Hershey line. We played 4:42 of the opening period. We're scoreless. Kevin McCarthy at his own line on the right defense for Hershey. Now McCarthy from center zone across on left wing for Murray at the Baltimore line. Directing it in behind the goals. He heard the footsteps of Armstrong bearing down on him. Now Keith Miller at his own line for the Jacks. Miller from center. Drove it in behind the Hershey goal. Young falls to block it behind the goal. Armstrong seizes it. Now Armstrong slipped it back behind the goal for no. Right in front for Armstrong, and it dribbled off his stick at the doorstep. Puck along the left wing corner boards for Miller. Surrounded by Lofthouse and McCarthy. Dug loose by Lofthouse in the right circle. Jammed off his stick by the ever-present Ian Armstrong. He deflected it to the Hershey right boards, though, and Kevin McCarthy will ice the puck in utter despair. Gagne to reach it behind the Jacks goal, and Hershey is charged for icing. A break of the action. We're scoreless on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Isn't that the way it goes? And we got a streak going, we lose our best player. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena, and Doug Shedden has departed the Baltimore dressing room. Well, isn't that the way the season's gone? The Jacks have their best unbeaten streak of the season, and they lose their best player with an injury. I'll tell you, someone is just serving up dishfuls of miscarriages of justice for the Jacks this season. Now from the faceoff, Hoover behind his own goal, directs it around the right wing boards for Mayotte, who really jolted Maxwell. Mayotte at center for Julian, snapping it into the Hershey right wing corner. Covering up is Fenves, rounding the net on the left side, up the middle at his own line, Fenves for Mitch Lamoureux. Lamoureux from center over the Baltimore line for Maxwell, working on Hoover, who rode him off in front with the trailer. Lamoureux is right in on goal, and he goes crashing into the crossbar with Jacques Mayotte cracking him in a lusty spirit, and the net is lifted from both moorings and collides with the backboards, while the Skipjacks defenseman Claude Julien is slow getting back up to the right side of the goal. It's been a physical affair thus far, punctuated by some crushes at the crease that has already produced one casualty in the form of the Jacks' premier performer, Doug Shedden, who has since made his exit stage right to the Baltimore dressing room, still flexing that troublesome right knee. Face-off right of Gordon, Jacks goal, 13:47 left, opening period, and the game is scoreless. Steve Seguin, Don Biggs on the face-off. Won by Seguin, directing it behind the goal. Gordon stepped out himself with Fitzpatrick lurking in the shadows. He directs it back behind the goal. Mayotte is there. Now Mayotte around the boards on right wing for Bonner. Checked by Fitzpatrick behind the goal. They center right in front. The shot, what a save by Gordon as he robbed Fitzpatrick at point blank range. A tantalizing rebound right in front. Biggs fired and he raked the rocket over top of the net. Rebound to the right point for Murphy, and he ripped it wide as Rupe was really crunched deep in the Baltimore left corner by a hefty jolt from Mayotte. Puck all the way back into the Bears zone. Murphy turns with it on the right defense, across on left wing at center for defensive partner Steve Smith, who winds it around the Baltimore backboard to the right side for Biggs, waiting for it. Back to the right point for Murphy, stolen by Miller. Miller's pass Marshmallow at center circle, blocked by Fitzpatrick, who rolled it right to the goaltender Gordon, who covers with Don Biggs, chaperoned from the danger district by Dave Moreland, who just rode Biggs to the backboards, waltzed him into the backboards. 12:50 left, first period, game scoreless. It's been lively thus far. The Bears have outshot the Jacks 5-2. Hershey the Jacks were outshot by Binghamton last night, 33-21 in all three periods, as a matter of fact. But the Jacks were very emphatic in their 5-2 vanquishing of the Whalers. We will attempt to ascertain a report on Captain Doug Shedden, and I'm sure there will be one in the offing. Face-off circle right of Gordon, Jacks goal. All ready to go on the face-off. It'll be J.F. Doe and Mike Murray. Won by No, deep in the Jacks right corner. Albrecht in the circle for No, knocked away by Hill. Dug out, though, all the way across to the Baltimore left boards by Julian. He's jammed by Murray. Murray in the offensive right corner, leaves there for Hill. Hill try to slip it back for Murphy's side of the goal. Murphy has stripped of the puck neatly by Julian. Julian rolled it to the line, contained right point by Sable. Bears continue to mount pressure. Sable drove it around the backboards all the way to the Skipjacks right corner. Albrecht controls there for No. Across to the left circle for Julian. Up the boards at his own line for Miller. Keith Miller from center, fired. Deflected off the skate of Sable into the Hershey right corner. Kevin McCarthy is there. Checked by Miller, who wrapped it back behind the goal. Digging it out is No. No to the right wing boards. Evades the check of Murray. Right circle for Gagne. Now Gagne left it there for Miller. He had no room to operate, and the shot was easily muffled by Murray. Murray to center at the Baltimore line. Top of the left circle for Hill. Shooting. Gordon the save. Rebound comes back to Hill. Top of the circle. Down low side of the goal for Lofthouse. Swept away by Julian. Comes back to Lofthouse left corner. Now Lofthouse wheels in behind the goal. Centered it. Left point. Fenves just as he was cradling it. Here's the whistle sound as the right goal post behind Gordon has been removed. A break in the action. 11:33 left. First period still scoreless on the Skipjacks. Hockey Network. They'll send something down. They're going to send something down. They're listening to the game up there, too. They got a radio on up for the broadcast. That's Paul's usually got one. Paul listens to the game up there all the time. Huh? Now from the face-off. At center zone, Larry DePalma for the Jacks. Steps it over the Hershey line. Wheels across to the right wing corner. Overpowering Murphy. Trying to center one in front for Armstrong, replacing Shedden, and Lamrou blocked it. Lamrou from center. On right wing for Maxwell. Beyond him to the side of the Jacks goal. Gordon stepped out on the right side, steers it in the corner. That's blocked by Kiprios, who's waltzed into the backboards by Kennedy with a bone-bruising body belt. They continue to jam for it deep in the Jacks' right corner, with Kennedy finally being pinned by Nick Kiprios. No further play. 10:59 remaining in the opening period, and the game is scoreless from the Baltimore Arena. The faceoff will originate circle right of Scott Gordon in the Jacks' goal, and the last standing Jack to have played in all 67 games, including this one tonight, Captain Doug Shedden, their leading scorer, apparently found with an injury to his right ankle in a crush at the crease when he crashed the crease on an apparent skipjack goal that was disallowed by referee Mick Magoo because the net had already been lifted from its moorings before the puck entered the cage. And Shedden has returned to the Skipjack dressing room for medical attention. Face-off circle right of Gordon, Jack's goal. Seguin and Biggs will be the principals. Waiting for the linesmen. They draw swords. One by the Jacks on the left side. Mayock comes across for it. Checked by Rupe. Rupe stripped of the puck, though, by Mayotte on a second effort. Then Rupe took it away from Mayotte from the top of the right circle. Mayotte fired. Gordon the save. Rebound in the Jacks' right corner. Julian squeezes Fitzpatrick. Whistle sounds. No further play. The Bears have dominated. The lion's share of the play has been contained in the pressure cooker of Skipjack territory. Jacks have been limited to only 2 shots on goal thus far. This is a Hershey team that has been on a rampage, winning 3 in a row, 13 of 15 and 18 of 22, and they have a glowing record of 33-9-2 in their last 44 games. That's how dominating they have been across the circuit. Now from the faceoff, Biggs won at top of the circle for Fitzpatrick, poked off his stick all the way to the Hershey line, neatly by Jacques Mayotte. Controlled by Smith. Smith on right wing at center for Rupe, knocked away by Hoover, but trailing Biggs. Over the Baltimore line for Rupe along the boards, thumped by Seguin, skids all the way across to the Skipjack's right side. Controlled by Julian, sailing it to the line, glove down there by Smith. Back along the boards for Magnus Rupe. Rupe side of the goal for Biggs. He was skated off by Gagne, contained left point by Smith. Into the corner for Rupe. Crunched by Julian, but Rupe maintains control. Centered it. Left circle. Fitzpatrick pulled over by Hoover. Tim Hoover sends Mayotte on his way on left wing at center at the Hershey line. Mayotte fired. Glove by Young. Young drove it around the left wing boards for Biggs. Checked by Gagne, pinching in for the point with great anticipation. Gagne behind the goal, centered it right in front. Mayotte fired. A great save by Young. Oh, he robbed him. No further play. as Wayne Gagne unobtrusively, with that great knack of anticipation, poured in from the right point on the steal, and then he snuck in behind the goal and centered one crisply in front, and Jacques Mayotte was robbed point-blank range by the goaltending wizardry of Young. He is 28-9-1 with a 2.88 goals against average this season, 0.96 in 4 games against the Jacks. Face-off right of Young, Hershey goal. No, and Murray. Won by Murray. Top of the circle, Sable clear to the line. Albrecht on the left point. Into the corner for Bonner. Shooting stick save Young with no crossing the crease. Controlled left side by Hill. Al Hill just propels that one down ice. Reached behind the Jacks goal by Albrecht. And Hershey is charged for icing. 9:26 remaining in the opening period. And the game is scoreless. The Bears have outshot the Jacks 7-4, but perhaps the goaltender Wendell Young has pulled off the best save thus far in this one. He absolutely stymied Jacques Mayotte at the edge of the crease with a brilliant glove save. Faceoff will be left of Young, Bears goal. On the road, the Bears have a league best 16 wins. In fact, they've won 6 of their last 7 of their last 9 on the road, and they have an excellent road record, 12-5-1 in their last 18 games abroad. All ready to go for the face-off. It'll be No and Murray. Waiting for the linesman, Keith Miller, the trigger man directly behind No at the rim of the right circle. Doesn't matter, Murray controls it, left side of the goal for Sable, snapping it crisply across on right wing of his own line for Loft. Does the breakaway pass for Hill, who had penetrated behind the Baltimore defense, dashing through, but Al Hill is offside. And he'll object to the call by the linesman, but Al Hill was way offside on that breakaway pass. We are receiving an updated report on the injured Doug Shedden. Apparently Shedden has received, the preliminary diagnosis is that he has a slight pull or Charlie horse in the leg, and he should return. So apparently it may just be a severe Charlie horse, and if that's the case, that is not at all a knee injury indeed. From the faceoff, Sable tracks it down on the Hershey defense behind his own goal. Sean Sable on right wing at his own line. Lugs it to center, firing it off the boards in behind the Jacks goal. Gordon is there to set it up for Kennedy. Up on right wing for Bonner. His pass was weak in the circle. Anticipating that, Dave McClay to the left point for Sable with a shot, and he fired it wide. The rebound controlled at the Jacks line by Larry DePalma on left wing. Rick running right wing at center for Bonner. That was cut off by Sable. Sable at center. Over the ball line for Lamoureux. Top of the slot. Lamoureux shoots. Stick save Gordon. Rebound to the right point for Fenves. Left point for Sable. Sable fired. Deflected into the circle by Bonner. Played there by Julian. Julian at center for Larry DePalma. Over the Hershey line. He darts into the right circle. Centered one. But Lomo couldn't get there. Dave McClay was on the scene to drift it over the glass into the crowd. Behind the Hershey penalty box at center ice, across the way from us. No further play. 8:24 left first period. The game is scoreless for the Baltimore Arena, and the face-off will originate barely above the arc of the circle left of Young in the Hershey goal. The Bears tonight are minus several of their standouts, including left wing Glenn Seabrook, who has to be one of the top favorites for League Rookie of the Year this year. Right wing Brian Dobbin, who's pure poison to the Jacks, and center captain Don Knockbauer. John Stevens also not in uniform tonight. Now from the faceoff at the left point for Moylan. The shot kicked out by Young. The rebound controlled along the right wing corner boards by Seguin. Now Seguin side of the goal for Mayotte. Checked by Fitzpatrick. Now Ross Fitzpatrick at his own line sheds the Mayotte check. Fitzpatrick at center over the Baltimore line for Biggs. He tried to wheel in front, muscle by Moylan, fired down ice from in front of the goal by Julian. Now Young will cover right side of the goal for Smith. Now Smith in the right circle. The headman's it in the middle at center for Fitzpatrick, reaching the Baltimore line. Left it on the left side for Biggs, who waffled the shot weakly in front, blocked by Julian. Now Claude Julian is away. At center for Mayotte, at the Hershey line for Seguin, shooting. The save by Young. Rebound right circle for Gagne. Gagne centered it Julian couldn't reach it in front. He was cracked by Smith lustily, and Smith got away with a slash there. Fitzpatrick controls. Ross Fitzpatrick on left wing at center sends Rupe tearing after it behind the Baltimore goal, overpowering Julian, who fell. Rupe surrounded though by No and an upright Julian. Rupe center point for McCarthy. Left point for Sable, snapping the shot. Stick save Gordon. Rebound in the right circle, and the Skipjack defenseman, Dave Moylan, topples on top of the puck. No further play. A break of the action. 7:04 left first period. Game scoreless on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. 7:04 remaining in the opening period, and this game is scoreless. The faceoff will proceed circle right of Scott Gordon in the Jacks goal. J.F. No and Mike Murray on the faceoff. One by No behind the goal for Hoover. Tim Hoover around the left wing boards for Keith Miller, and his clearing pass deflected high off of Mark Lofthouse over the glass into the crowd. No further play at the Skipjack blue line. So the faceoff will move outside their line, right in front of their bench on the Skipjack left wing. 6:57 left first period, and the game is scoreless from the Baltimore Arena. J.F. No for the Jacks. Mike Murray for Hershey on the faceoff. From the faceoff, at center zone, Kevin McCarthy on right wing finds Lofthouse at the Baltimore line, shooting from center point, and that was deflected wide by Kennedy on the defense. And then the puck sails over the glass into the crowd along the Skipjack left wing boards again. No further play. And that'll produce a face-off, this time rim of the circle left of Gordon in the Jacks goal. 6:49 left first period, and the game is scoreless. And we've lacked sustained action here in the last several moments. Jacks unbeaten in their last 4 starts. That is a club high for this season. 3 wins and 1 tie. From the faceoff on the left point for Sable. Now Sable steers it in behind the goal as he was stumped by Kennedy. Digging it out there, Lofthouse. He rolled one in front. Halted by No. J.F. No explodes to center on right wing. Over the Hershey line, skated off as he reached the top of the circle by Sable. Rounding the net with it on the right side is Hill, sending it to center, where Tim Hoover for the Jacks on the left wing sends it back behind the Hershey goal. Covering Sable, whipping it around the left wing boards for Murray at his own line. Murray in the middle at center, sharply for Lofthouse over the Baltimore line, skated off on the defense by Hoover, and back come the Jacks. Miller romps to center over the Hershey line, shooting, kicked out by Young, the rebound in front, and Bonner was checked at the last split instant by McCarthy. Now McCarthy on right wing at center at the Baltimore line and left wing for Murray with a high drive, and that one was wide. The rebound along the Skipjack left wing boards, and it's fired down ice from there by the Jacks, Larry DePalma, and touched behind the goal by Fenvez. Jacks charge for icing. 5:51 left in the first period, and the game is still scoreless from the Baltimore Arena. The Jacks have managed only 1 win in the last 15 episodes between these two clubs. They are 5-20-2 in the last 27 meetings, and they're winless in their last 7 home games against Hershey. Spanning back to last season, it's been 1 full calendar year since the Jacks last earned a victory here at home against Hershey. It'll be Sagan Biggs on the faceoff left of Gordon. One by Biggs to the right point. Murphy screenshot right on. Oh, Gordon speared that one with Don Biggs creating an obstacle in front. Boy, Biggs claimed the faceoff, and Murphy from the right point really uncorked a rising rocket. And Gordon, with excellent concentration, snared that one with Biggs, really screening him in front. Now from the faceoff, controlled on the Jacks left wing boards at their own line for Sagan. In the middle at center for transformed right wing Wayne Gagne. Deflected off him to the front of the Hershey goal, on at Fenvez. Dave Fenvez his own line. Fenves on left wing at center, winds it around the Baltimore backboards, all the way to the right side. It's centered there by Kiprios, blocked in front by Sagan from the right side. Gagne at his own line clears the zone. And at center zone, Gord Murphy deposits one into the Skipjack penalty box. No further play. 5:18 left, opening period, and the Jacks seem to be gaining momentum. They seem now to really be controlling the tempo of this game. The Jacks have been able to diminish the Hershey attack, diminish the tempo, and this should be opportunistic for the Skipjacks. Mitch Lamoureux and Byron Lomo. Lamoureux's been held to only one assist in his last 3 games against the Jacks since Lomo was charged with checking him. Now from the faceoff. Puck along the left wing boards in the Jack zone to Palma. Across on right wing at center for Ian Armstrong. Beyond him, all the way behind the Hershey goal. To cover Steve Smith. Hounded in front by Armstrong. Smith scaled it off the glass on left wing to center. Kennedy cut it off before Rupe did, but Rupe took it away. Oh, the ball's more line for Lamoureux. He tried to slip one in front, blocked by Lomo. Now Byron Lomo on left wing at center for Armstrong. He couldn't catch up with that one, controlled by McCarthy. Oh, the ball line on left wing for Rupe. Rupe waltzed into the corner boards by Kennedy, draped over his back. It squirms in behind the goal. Fitzpatrick squeezed by Moylan, who bowled him over robustly. They continue to tangle for it truculently. Kennedy and Rupe are really bumping and grinding. It squirms to the left circle for Fitzpatrick. Center point for McCarthy, faking the shot. Right circle for Fitzpatrick with a shot and a score. Ross Fitzpatrick and Hershey leads 1-0. And that time the Bears simply overmatched the Jacks in the bumping and grinding department along the backboards and the corner boards. And Ross Fitzpatrick from the right circle just boomed it past Scott Gordon at 15:45. For Fitzpatrick, his 11th and his second against the Skipjacks. He had missed all of the season until January due to reconstructive knee surgery in the offseason. Ross Fitzpatrick at 15:45, and that establishes a 1-0 lead for Hershey. Fitzpatrick from McCarthy and Rupe. And we have certainly a representative contingent of Hershey fans in attendance tonight. 1-0 Hershey. And Ross Fitzpatrick, of course, has been a perennial 40 to 50 goal sharpshooter for the Bears over the last several seasons. Now Sean Sable on left wing at center, fires into the Baltimore zone. Controlled deep in the left corner by Hoover, clearing to the line. Fenves contains right point. Fenves right in front for Lofthouse, pulled down by Miller. And there'll be a Skipjacks holding penalty to Keith Miller, who just grabbed Mark Lofthouse from behind as the latter was wheeling between the circles in front of the Skipjack goal at 16:03. And Hershey will be presented power play time, and the Bears power play has been very productive this season. They have scored a league-high 95 goals on the power play. They have a proficiency rating of 24.7%. And Hershey on the power play against the Jacks this season has been superb. The Bears on the power play are 20 for 52 against the Jacks this season. 20 for 52, that's nearly 39% completion on the power play against Baltimore. Now from the faceoff, skips to center. Fenves on right wing will control the boards. Now Fenves across for Murphy, reaching the Baltimore line. Along the left wing boards for Kiprios, pulling up at the hash mark. Now Kiprios pivots in the corner. Back to the left point for Murphy. Shooting! Stick save Gordon as Lamoureux was upended in front by Hoover. Dug out right wing boards by Fenves, pinching in from the point. Center point for Murphy. Now Murphy, watched by Sagan. Sagan steals. Sagan controls it in his own right circle and fires it down ice with a strong effort. Now Dave Fenves will slip in behind the goal. Headmans it right up the middle of his own line for Murphy on left wing at center for Lamoureux, who hits the Baltimore line. Left at left point for Murphy, right in front for Maxwell. Poked off his stick by Julian. Maxwell Goes in after it in the corner. Side of the goal for Lamoureux. Try to force the centering pass all the way back to the right point for Fenves. The screen shot. And Lamoureux deflected it right on. A quick save that time by Gordon. Controlled in the right corner by Maxwell. Kevin Maxwell to the right point for Fenves. Now Fenves right in front for Maxwell to the doorstep for Murphy with a shot. He scores. Gord Murphy on the power play. It's 2-0 Hershey. And I'll tell you, these Bears are a very talented crew. They maneuvered and they monopolized puck control in the Jack zone. And their power play continues at a blistering pace. That's their 96th power play goal and their 21st in 53 advantages against the Jacks. Gord Murphy connects. That's his 6th, his first against the Jacks. At 17-15, and the Bears have struck twice in a minute 12, and they have claimed a 2-0 lead late in this opening period. The Miller penalty for holding was the first penalty in the game. Maxwell and Fenves the assist at 17-15. Now from the faceoff, Jacks control at their own line. Moylan on the right side for Graham Bonner. Bonner at center. Over the Hershey line on the left wing for Miller. He fell as he crossed the blue line. It comes back to center. JF no controls. Tried to twist and turn away from the check of Rupe. Rupe rode him off, poked it to the Baltimore line where No will recover it. No at center for Bonner. That was blocked by Steve Smith. Control by the Jacks, Graham Bonner. Curling back to his own line. Bonner at center for No. No scampering into the Hershey line, pulling up on the right boards, working on McCarthy. Try to center one in front for Bonner. Checked by Smith. Waltzed him into the backboards. Controlled on the Hershey right wing boards by Rupe. Rupe had it poked off his stick by Albrecht, pinching him from the point. Rupe retraces his steps behind the goal. Now Rupe, pass stolen inside of the goal by No, right in front for Miller, and McCarthy was there. McCarthy sends Rupe on his way to center with a 3-man rush. Magnus Rupe over the Baltimore line, but offside of the left wing was Ross Fitzpatrick for Hershey. No further play. A break in the action. 1:36 left first period. Hershey 2, the Jacks nothing. On the Skipjacks Hockey Network. No. Oh no, not at all. It's great. I want that. Oh no, not at all. Now from the faceoff. Control at center by Mark Lofthouse on the left wing for Murray, streaking in over the Baltimore line. Pulls up with a bouncing puck to contend with. Lost control as he reached the circle to Gagne. Now Gagne dropped Hill in his tracks, but then in the process, headman the puck with his right glove to Steve Sagan. And once Sagan received it, the Jacks are called on the hand pass with 67 seconds remaining in the opening period. Hershey striking twice the Bears striking twice in a minute and a half. Fitzpatrick's 11th from McCarthy and Rupe at 15:45. Murphy 6th from Maxwell and Fenves on the only power play of the night at 17:15, the 77th power play goal yielded by the Jacks this season. From the faceoff, commandeered along the Jacks left wing boards by Mayotte. His pass blocked at the point by Fenves with a shot. Pad save Gordon. Rebound controlled the Jacks line by Sagan. Steve Sagan to center. Try to power his way through the Hershey defense. The puck is loose in front, captured by Lofthouse. Now Lofthouse to center. Over the Baltimore line along the left wing boards. Wedged off by Gagne, but he overpowered Gagne. Lofthouse muscles his way behind the goal. Centered one in front. And the Hershey player there, Murray, was really belted by Albrecht. Skids back in behind the goal. They tangle for it truculently. Hill centered one right in front. Murray fired a sprawling save by Gordon as he robbed him point blank range with 22 seconds left in the period. Jacks finally controlled their own line. Claude Julien chugs to center on right wing. Shoots right on. Pad save Young. The rebound in front. Captured by Sable. Leading on left wing at his own line for Lamoureux. Across on right wing at center for Maxwell at the Baltimore line. Maxwell from the circle. Shoots right on. Gordon the save. One ticket at full price. and receiving the second one free of charge. The game refereed tonight by Mick Magoo, the linesman, Steve Miller, and Randy Whistler. All ready to go. Gordon in goal to our left, Young in goal to our right, and Doug Shedden has returned for a second period action after sustaining a Charlie horse early in that opening period. All ready to go. Byron Lomo for the Jacks in the face of opposing Don Biggs. Biggs 1 goal away from becoming the 5th Bear to attain the prestigious 30-goal plateau. From the faceoff at center zone on right wing, Gord Murphy snaps it in behind the Baltimore goal where it's tracked down by Gagne. Wayne Gagne around the left wing boards for De Palma. Evading the checks of Biggs and Murphy at center for Shedden, who steps it over the Binghamton line right in front for Lomo to the store. Step to De Palma, and he was checked from behind at the last instant by Murphy, who waltzed him into the backboards. Back on the Bears. Biggs at center over the Baltimore line. He sends Nick Kiprios chasing it down the left corner. He topples Gagne, the two-tumble, but Gagne controls it and sweeps it around the right wing boards down ice. Murphy to track it down behind the Hershey goal. Aims one up on right wing at his own line for Kevin Maxwell. Now Maxwell scurries to center over the Baltimore line. Wheels to the right circle. Shoots, scores! Kevin Maxwell. It's 3-0 Hershey. As Kevin Maxwell just wheeled in over the Baltimore line and swerved through the right circle. And I think he caught Scott Gordon by surprise, as he just zinged it past Gordon low far corner, and Scott Gordon did not seal the angle, and Hershey runs its lead to 3-0 at the 52nd mark early in the second period, and how the Bears have just utterly owned the Jacks the last 2 years. Maxwell's 32nd from Murphy, both of them with a goal and an assist tonight at 50 seconds. That's Maxwell's 32nd and his 12th in as many games against the Jacks. He has really excelled against Baltimore. Now Julian behind the goal for the Jacks around the left wing boards for Mayotte. Checked by Rupe, who's had a strong game. But covering behind the goal, Hoover. Tim Hoover on right wing. Leads in his own line for Bonner in the middle at center with Lomo. Poked off his stick by McCarthy, who anticipated. McCarthy for Smith, romping in over the Baltimore line. Shooting right on. And Gordon the save as he squeezes that one to his chest on the Jacks' crest. No further play. 18:34 left in the second period with the score Hershey 3, the Jacks nothing. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Face-off left of Gordon, Jack's goal. JF No opposing Mike Murray, the latter the second-year pro from Guelph. Sticks come down. One by No, taken behind the goal by Dave Moylan, pulling up sharply. Moylan dishes left boards for No. Now JF No nudged it to the line for Miller. He's entangled along the boards there by Murray. Sent back behind the goal from right wing by Fenves. Digging in for it there is Al Hill. Muscled by Kennedy, converged down by No, poked it up the board. Sable barges in from the point in the left circle for Lofthouse. His turnaround shot was wide. Rebound skips in behind the goal. Covering is No. Now JF No on left wing for Miller. Miller's pass was weak, halted the line by Lofthouse, but it was caught in his skates, and finally the Jacks control with Moylan. On right wing at center for No, who wrapped it in behind the Hershey goal. Controlled by Fenves. Around the boards on right wing for Lofthouse. As he was checked by Armstrong, it comes back to center zone. Controlled by Mike Murray on left wing. He sends it in behind the Jacks goal. Covering is Moylan. Now Dave Moylan circles the net on the right side. Moylan at his own line. On left wing at center for No. Skated off by Murphy, who controls it to his own line for Smith on the left defense. Steve Smith from center. Throw it into the Baltimore left corner. It comes up the boards to Moylan. Dave Moylan at his own line. Moylan at center. Strokes it into the Hershey left wing corner. Covering the Karen Fitzpatrick ahead of the onrushing Shedden. Ross Fitzpatrick on right wing at his own line for Rupe. Rupe in the middle at center for Fitzpatrick. Jerked down as he reached the Baltimore line by De Palma, who feeds for Shedden. Shedden at center at the Hershey line. Shoots. That deflected off Smith into the right wing corner. Digging in forward is Shedden. He was sent cartwheeling by the sprawling check of Murphy. Now controlled at the Hershey line by Rupe. Across on left wing at center, Rupe for Steve Smith, who ladles it in behind the Jacks goal with the Bears changing. Now Gagne behind the goal, starts out quickly. On right wing at his own line for Shedden, in the middle at center for Steve Seguin. He drove it off the Hershey backboards, Caroms into the right circle. Maxwell ahead of the on-rushing De Palma, controls it, and as Kevin Maxwell rounds the net on the left side, he's jerked down by the forechecking Larry De Palma, and there will be a Skipjacks hooking penalty to De Palma at 3:31 as the door starts to lose its hinges here for the Skipjacks, who are unbeaten in a season's high 4 consecutive games. Time of the penalty will be 3:31. Larry De Palma, 2 minutes for hooking. He was simply overzealous, over-exuberant in his checking responsibilities around that Hershey goal, and perhaps De Palma may be ventilating some of the Jacks' frustration at this stage of the night. This is a Jacks team that is acutely aware of its ineptitude against Hershey this season, winning only 1 of 12 and only 1 of 15 dating back to last season. All ready to go, Lamoureux and Seguin for the face-off. Hershey 1 for 1 on the power play, 96 goals on the season in that category. At center zone, Byron Lomo will control it. Now Lomo back to his own line on the left defense for Tim Hoover, and Hoover just floats it down ice. Gord Murphy with a goal and an assist on the last 2 Hershey goals will organize. He'll engineer the power play rush. Now Murphy straight up the middle at center zone. Drove it off the Baltimore backboards, digging it after it left corner, Lamoureux. Directing it behind the goal for Maxwell. Waltzed into the backboards by Julian, but contained right point by Fenves. Down low, along the right wing boards for Maxwell. Back to the right point for Dave Fenves. The shot deflected by Kiprios in front, right on. Gordon the save, and Tim over from behind the Jacks goal sends it down ice. Dave Fenves will glide effortlessly to the right side of the goal to control. Headmans it to his own line for Murphy. Gord Murphy on right wing at center, wrapped it in behind the Jacks goal, where Claude Julien rockets it around the right wing boards, down ice. Under a minute for the power play, 15:25 for the second period, 3-0 Hershey. Bears will control in front of the goal. Gord Murphy again leading long on left wing at center for Fitzpatrick. The Baltimore line for Biggs, sending Rupe chasing it down behind the Baltimore goal. He was crashed into the backboards by Moreland. The puck skims right in front. On it, Gagne. Now Wayne Gagne on right wing at center for JF. No darts it over the Hershey line. He's right in front with a shot. And the no shot is deflected harmlessly over the glass into the crowd by Fenves. No further play. 15:01 left, second period. 32 seconds remaining in the Jacks hooking penalty to Larry De Palma. The Jacks have it outshot 20-9, and they trail by a trio at 3-0. Maxwell's 32nd, his 12th in as many games against the Jacks this season, with a single assist going to Gord Murphy, and the time of the goal was 50 seconds here early in the second period. Faceoff will be the origination of the JF No aborted blast, which will be in the medium slot range between the circles and above the hash marks. It'll be No and Biggs, the principals. They draw for it. Won by Biggs. Covering behind the goal, the retreating Kevin Maxwell. Maxwell nearly turned it over in front of the goal to Gagne, who was lying in wait. The puck skids to center. We're in a waiting Bob Kennedy on right wing. Drove it back behind the goal. Young stepped out, swept it away from the onrushing JF No. Ahead at his own line for McCarthy through center. Kevin McCarthy sends Rupe streaking after it in the right corner, but Moreland was there instead. Moreland clears to the line. McCarthy turned it over to Gagne, who steals. Wayne Gagne springs to center on right wing, reaching the Hershey line. Cracked by McCarthy not once but twice. Controlled by Biggs at center circle. He was upended rudely from behind by No. It's controlled at the Jacks line by Moreland. Dave Moreland on left wing at center. Fires on goal. Young guides it into the right corner for Smith. The penalty is over to De Palma. Now Steve Smith on right wing at center for Rupe, spinning off the check of Mayotte. He drove it into the Baltimore right corner. Digging it out there is Julian. Entangled by Fitzpatrick. Seized behind the goal by Rupe. Right in front for Biggs. Shot, he scores! Don Biggs, 4-0 Hershey. Boy, Don Biggs was left uncovered in front, and he becomes the Bears' 5th 30-goal cannoneer at 6:05. And how this Hershey team dominates the Skipjacks. Don Biggs' 30th, his 7th against the Skipjacks. Rupe and Fitzpatrick occupied two Jacks players deep in the offensive left wing corner. Rupe reached in and centered one, and Don Biggs was left uncovered in front, and he just laced it upstairs, and that will affect the goaltending change from GM coach Gene Ubriaco. Scott Gordon will be supplanted by Murray Bannerman, and Bannerman has been superlative in recent action. This will be Bannerman's 31st game and his 4th relief appearance of the season. His record is .515-5 with a goals against average of 4.53. This will be Bannerman's 8th appearance against Hershey. He has posted a 1-3-1 record against the Bears. He was in goal for the Jacks' only victory this season against Hershey, and a goals against average against Hershey of 4.44. Biggs 30th from Rupe and Fitzpatrick at .605. Rupe with a pair of assists, and Ross Fitzpatrick has a goal and an assist tonight. From the face-off, Fenves lost it right in front to Bonner. Bonner shoots, scores! Graham Bonner, Jacks trail 4-1. Right from the face-off, Dave Fenves in front of his own goal had his pocket picked to puck possession from Graham Bonner, and Bonner just snapped it upstairs, his second goal in as many games as the Skipjacks. And the Jacks halt the hemorrhaging. Bonner's 4th, his 2nd as a Skipjack in as many games. He had the game winner here last night. Bonner unassisted. At 6:21 on the steal from Fenves in front of the goal. Now Mayotte through center, over the Hershey line, into the right corner for Bonner. He centered it. Left point, Albrecht fired and he ripped it wide. Rebound to the right point for Julian. Into the corner for Lomo. Check there. We have an altercation in front of the goal. Jacques Mayotte and the Jackson. Dave Fenves of Hershey. Mayotte has lost his helmet. The two are wrestling with each other. Now Mayotte yanks off Fenves' helmet. And now the linesman will attempt to dislodge the Desperados, and Mayotte has landed a right before they all fall down. And when I say all, I mean all 4 of them. Dave Fenves, the former NHL defenseman with Buffalo, and the most valuable player in last season's Calder Cup championship for the Rochester Americans, and the Skipjacks, Jacques Mayotte. And Mayotte attempting to light a fuse as far as the Skipjack attack is concerned. And they may have found the spark with Bonner's unassisted goal and the Mayotte altercation. The goal by Bonner came just 16 seconds after Biggs had connected for Hershey. Fenves and Mayotte, 5 minutes each for fighting at 6:53. The Jacks tonight are skating minus the services of Terry Perkins, who incurred a back injury when he was cross-checked into the Binghamton net by Tony Kellen with 2 seconds remaining in the Jacks' 5-2 triumph last night. In addition, of course, Val James and Brent Peer through for the season. Sean Denis with a knee injury. Chuck Brimmer is in uniform but has seen no service, and Charlie Meitner is deactivated tonight for a 2nd straight game. In fact, Charlie will be our special guest in our 2nd intermission tonight. From the face-off, puck deep in the Hershey left corner. Kiprios controls. Up on left wing at his own line for Smith, who wraps to center. Steve Smith over the Baltimore line, lost control to Julian. Now Claude Julien right side of the goal, right up the middle at his own line for Seguin. Now Steve Seguin barrels to center, drove it in behind the Hershey goal. Charging in after De Palma, poked it right corner for Shed, right in front for Seguin with a shot. What a save by Young as he sprawled across the crease. Puck to the Hershey line, poked to center by Lamoureux. He chases after it at the right boards. Now Lamoureux controls it in congestion. He explodes it over the Baltimore line, right circle, and he fired it wide. Boy, Lamoureux really boomed it. Back come the Jacks. Shed to center. Hits the Hershey line, try to center one in front for Seguin. Knocked away by Smith, contained right point by Julian. Hoisting it down low, side of the goal for De Palma, try to center one in front for Shedden. Swept away by Murphy all the way down ice. Racing to retrieve behind the Jacks goal as Julian and Hershey is charged for icing. A break in the action. 11:53 left, middle period. Hershey 4, Jacks 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. We neglected to mention that right wing Tim Driscoll has been deactivated for a second consecutive game tonight as well by Coach Gino Briaco. Driscoll and Meitner deactivated tonight. Brimmer in uniform but has not seen any action. Face-off circle right of Young. Hershey goal. JF No in the face-off with Biggs. Won by No, but it eludes Kennedy at center point all the way to center. Kennedy retrieves and sends in behind the goal, where Sean Sable will just send it down ice. Kennedy to reach it behind the Jacks goal, and again, Hershey is charged for icing, and the Bears' strategy is quite obvious here. They are attempting to stem the momentum of the rising tidal wave that the Jacks seem to be generating on the impetus of the Graham Bonner unassisted goal, produced 16 seconds after Don Biggs had increased the Bears' lead to 4-0, and then 32 seconds after Bonner connected, Jacques Mayotte and Dave Fenves were involved in a fistic adventure in front of the Hershey goal. Now from the face-off, tracked down behind the Bears goal by Sable. He drove it to the line, right off the stick of Miller, was lurking in the shadows, anticipating. Back come the Bears, Biggs to center of the Baltimore line, right in front for McCarthy with a shot. Bannerman the save, the rebound in front of Bannerman absolutely robs Don Biggs. Point-blank range, no further play. Oh my, was Bannerman spectacular on that one. And the Bears just stormed in over the Baltimore line. And Biggs on the rebound at point-blank range, and Bannerman pulled off an enormous glove save. Face-off left of him, and he has just been red hot in the Jacks goal recently. It'll be No and Biggs on the face-off left of Murray Bannerman. 11:24 for the middle period. The Bears lead 4-1, and they've outshot the Jacks 2-1 at 24-12. Biggs won it to the right point for McCarthy. Down low, behind the goal for Rupe. Now Rupe slips to Jekyll Moylan, who cracked him down anyway. Fitzpatrick reaches in, though, behind the goal. Centered it, blocked in front by No. JF No sends Armstrong on his way on right wing at center with the Hershey line for No. No romps into the corner after it. Muscled there by McCarthy. And then the Jacks player, Jacques Mayotte or Keith Miller, just rocked Biggs as it comes back to center. Miller on left wing, sweeps it into the Hershey left corner. Covering up is Sable. Sable sends one hopping across on right wing at center for Rupe. Stapled to the boards by No in front of the Baltimore penalty box. It skims back into Hershey territory. Controlled on the right side by McCarthy. He had his pocket picked by Miller, and with Lomo penetrating behind enemy lines right in on goal. Lomo was offside, though, once Miller corralled it on that left side in the circle. A break of the action, 10:34 left, middle period. Hershey 4, Jacks 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Back to the play. At the Baltimore line, Bonner checked by Lofthouse, who steals Lofthouse right in front for Murray with a shot, and he scores! Mike Murray, 5-1 Hershey. That time, Graham Bonner was guilty of turning it over. And Mike Murray had penetrated behind the defense. He was all alone right in on goal, and Murray Bannerman had to feel completely deserted as Murray just ripped it home at 9:48. It's a 3-goal second period assault by the league leaders, and they have restored their 4-goal advantage at 5-1. And the Jacks' 4-game unbeaten streak, their best of the season, now in serious jeopardy. Murray with his 14th is second against the Jacks. Murray from Lofthouse. Mark Lofthouse was lying in wait and just fleeced the puck right off the stick of Graham Bonner. Now Al Hill on left wing at center, strokes it into the Baltimore left wing corner, comes up the boards for Lofthouse, who sends it in behind the goal. Hoover fell in pursuit. Al Hill is right there. Now Hill wheels to the left wing boards, curls back to the blue line. Now left wing boards for Smith with a shot. Bannerman the save. Rebound behind the goal for Shedden. He sends it around the boards. Murphy contains at the right point in the circle for Lofthouse. Lofthouse right in front for Murray. Side of the goal for Hill to the doorstep for Lofthouse with a shot. What a save by Bannerman. Deep in the left corner for Steve Sagan. He just propels it to the Hershey line. Controlled by Smith at center. Over the Baltimore line, Smith for Al Hill. Right in front for Murray with a shot. Kicked out by Bannerman. And Bannerman has been absolutely abandoned here. Puck all the way back in front of the Hershey goal. Sable controls. Sable up the right boards for Maxwell. Escaping the check of Shedden. Maxwell drove it around the backboards in the left corner for Dave McClay, his first shift of the night. McClay's pass blocked by Shedden. Behind the goal for No centered it right between the point men all the way to center zone. And Bob Kennedy from there launches one into the Baltimore bench. No further play at center ice. 8:46 left, second period. Hershey 5, the Jacks 1, and in the second period, the Bears with 11 shots, the Jacks with 3. Hershey is outshot the overmatched Jacks 28-12. Murray's 14th from Lofthouse at 9:48. The Bears' third goal of this second period. The faceoff will be barely to the Skipjacks side of the center red line below us on their right wing. J.F. No and Mitch Lamoureux on the faceoff. Won by Lamoureux. Corralled back at the Hershey line by Sable. Across on right wing at center for McCarthy, too far. Controlled by No, back into his own zone for Moylan and for No. J.F. No on right wing at center, dances into the Hershey line right in front for Armstrong, and he couldn't hold the pass. Maxwell chased to the corner boards by McCarthy. They jam for it there. And now Kennedy is trapped, pinching in from the point, and Lamoureux is away, exploding to center. Hold the Baltimore line along the left wing boards. Give it a rough ride there by Miller. The puck loose behind the goal. Maxwell rolled one in front, and a recovering Bob Kennedy was there. Kennedy on left wing at center for No. Storming into the Hershey line right in front for Maxwell with a shot. Or Armstrong, and he backhanded it wide. And there will be a Hershey interference penalty coming up. Keith Miller was trailing the play in front of the Hershey goal when he was dropped in his tracks by the Bears' Dave McClay, recently reassigned from IHL Flint, and he'll be chased at 11:58. And Ian Armstrong had burst in behind the Hershey defense. He was right in on goal. He deked the goaltender Young from the crease, but he lifted the backhander over top of the yawning cage. McClay, 2 minutes for interference at 11:58. This will be the Jacks' first power play of the night. They are 0 for 30 on the power play in their last 6 games against Hershey. The Bears have blanked the Jacks in their last 30 power play opportunities spanning the last 6 meetings between these two clubs. The Jacks' power play, though, has been percolating 4 for 10 in the last 2 games. That's 40%. 5 for 14 for 36% in the last 3 games. The Jacks produced twice on the power play here last night. Sagan won the faceoff, directs it right point for Gagne, left point for Albrecht, right in front for De Palma, and he fanned on the shot. And from the Hershey left boards, Mitch Lamoureux sends it down ice. Now Albrecht behind the goal with a goal and 3 assists in his last 2 games. Leaves for Sagan, winding it up on the right side, leaving for Albrecht, the trailer at his own line. Albrecht to center over the Hershey line on right wing for De Palma. Skated off by Maxwell. Contained right point by Gagne, anticipating right in front for Sagan with a shot. Big save by Young. Rebound to the Hershey left boards, and Gord Murphy is there. And Murphy whistles one off the boards to center. Controlled by Sagan for Gagne on the right side. Gagne rinked wide to left wing for Shedden. Back center circle for Gagne. Now Wayne Gagne darts it over the Hershey line. Wrapped it in behind the goal. Young to barricade himself, drove it up on left wing for Hill. Al Hill inside his own line, backhands down ice, 102 for the power play, 7:03 for the period, 5-1. Hershey is Albrecht rounds to the net on the left side. Cliff Albrecht at his own line in the middle at center for No. JF No darts it over the Hershey line right in front for Shed, and the backhander, a sprawling save by Young with No streaking like a blur through the crease, and it sailed down ice from the left defense by Smith. Covering behind the goal is Albrecht for the Jacks. Now Albrecht leads sharply at his own line for Keith Miller, who storms to center over the Hershey line, shoots right on. That was caught by Young. He'll fall on it left side of the crease with both Miller and JF No zooming by. No further play. 6:33 left, second period, 31 seconds for the interference penalty to Dave McClay. And Hershey on top with a seemingly comfortable 5-1 pillow. Face-off will be circle left of Wendell Young in the Hershey goal. We want to remind you to stay tuned. Skipjacks left wing Charlie Meitner will be our special guest. That's upcoming in our second intermission tonight. Jacks are minus Terry Perkins, who suffered a back injury with 2 seconds remaining in the game here last night when he was cross-checked into the Binghamton net by defenseman Tony Kellen. All ready to go with a face-off. No one at right point. Julian shoots right on. Young the save as he caught that one. Directs it right circle for McCarthy. And Kevin McCarthy sends it down ice, charging after it. Murray the carom off the boards and a sharp angle shot by Murray, and Bannerman made the save. Rebound all the way to center zone. Kevin McCarthy back pedals to his own line, turns sharply on right wing at center, drove it into the Baltimore zone, 4 seconds for the power play. Now Claude Julien seeks shelter with it behind the goal. Penalty over to McClay. Now Julien at his own line, lopes to center circle, rockets it into the Hershey right corner. Covering McCarthy ahead of Bonner. Now McCarthy leads sharply at his own line for Mike Murray, dashing to center. Murray at the Baltimore line in the circle for McClay, shooting, kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound in the left circle again for Biggs, right in front for Fenves, who fired it wide. Rebound behind the goal for Moylan. Dave Moylan for the Jacks on left wing at his own line for No. No, Rick Watt on right wing at center for Bonner over the Hershey line for Moylan, leaving for Bonner along the right wing boards. Graham Bonner in the circle for Miller with a shot. Young the save. Rebound squirms in the crease. Bonner on his knees, couldn't corral it. And back come the Bears. Lamoureux's pass knocked back into the Hershey zone from center by Moylan. Dug out behind the goal by Armstrong. Whistle sounds. I think the Jacks are guilty of a delayed offside. No further play. A break on the action. 5:12 left. Second period. Hershey 5, Jacks 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Who do you think wrote it? Who do you think wrote it? Now from the faceoff, Bears at their own line control. Dave Fenves at center. Fenves on left wing, winds it around the Baltimore backboards, captured on the left wing by Tim Hoover. He drove it off Mick Magoo, the referee's back to center zone. Controlled by Lamoureux over the Baltimore line, right circle for Maxwell, working on Hoover, who thumped him. Puck deep in the Baltimore left corner. Now Lomo trying to steer it up the boards. Kiprio's blocked up, and then Lomo takes it back, and he'll lead a three-man rush to center. Now Byron Lomo over the Hershey line, left circle, skated off by Fenves. Lomo chases it down in the right corner with Fenves draped over his back. They jostle forward vigorously there. Armstrong is on the scene with Lamoureux, and Lamoureux worked it away, trapping the Skipjacks. Kennedy, 2-on-1. Lamoureux at center over the Baltimore line, right in on goal, shooting. Owen Hoover went low and blocked that one. Controlled in the Jacks right circle by Lomo as Lamoureux was really sent cartwheeling deep in the Baltimore left corner by Mayotte behind the play. In the meantime, Lomo from center steers it in behind the Hershey goal. Covering Murphy. Now Murphy's clearing pass on left wing, stolen by Seguin. Shot right on. Oh, Seguin fired that one. And Young went down on both knees and secured it. No further play. 3:59 left, second period, 5-1 Hershey. And boy, behind the play with Byron Lomo leading a three-man rush for the Jacks at center zone. back in the Jacks left wing corner. Mayotte really sent Mitch Lamoureux cartwheeling with a bone-jarring jolt. Face-off will be circle left of the netminder Young. 3:59 for the middle period. It's 5-1 Hershey. They scored 2 unanswered goals late in the opening period, struck for 3 more here in the second period. The sole goal by the Jacks from Graham Bonner, unassisted on a steal from the normally reliable Dave Fenves in front of the Hershey goal at 6:21. All ready to go for the face-off. Seguin for the Jacks, and Biggs, who controls it right to the goaltender Young, guiding it in behind the goal. Very warily for the Bears. Magnus Rupe. Rupe to center. Zooms in over the Baltimore line, swooping in behind the goal. He was really rocked and rolled by both Seguin and Albrecht. Controlled by Albrecht on the left circle. At center for Shedden. He romps it over the Hershey line. He had De Palma in front behind the defense. The centering pass, though, by Shedden was blocked by Smith late on the arrival. And Steve Smith deflects it over the glass into the crowd deep in the Hershey left corner. No further play. A break in the action. 3:31 left, second period. Hershey 5, Jacks 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Now from the faceoff. Puck at the Hershey line, controlled by Hill with Gagne barging in anticipation. Hill clears the zone, then Albrecht fell, and Lofthouse steals at the Baltimore line, and Lofthouse going right in on goal was undercut by a hip check from Gagne, and that deposited Lofthouse into the Baltimore net. In the meantime, Larry De Palma on left wing sends it in behind the Hershey goal. It's contained on the right point by Julian after a failing the clear, but then the puck was gloved ahead. No further play. 2:55 left, middle period, 5-1 Hershey. And Mark Lofthouse was sent tumbling into the Skipjack net by a Wayne Gagne jolt. The Jacks have been much more physical than they've been all season long against Hershey, but the Bears, of course, with more maturity, much more experience. This is a veteran-laden Hershey team, and they played under control with a lot of poise and composure. Now Claude Julian center circle, drove it around the Hershey backboards, all the way to the left side. Fenves is stumped by Armstrong, but the latter fell, but Armstrong controls it. Then it's fleeced from his stick by Fenves. Dave Fenves from behind the goal. Drove it around the boards on right wing at his own line for Lamoureux. Lamoureux checked by No, who barely holds it in. Now No from the circle, shoots, and that was wide. Dug out behind the goal by Miller. He tried to center one, and Lamoureux was on the scene. Now Lamoureux from in front of the goal on right wing at center for Maxwell, lashing it into the Baltimore left corner, digging it after it is Kiprios. Kiprios centered it, blocked in front by J.F. No. Now No is underway to center. J.F. No hits the Hershey line, wheels to the right wing boards and pulls up. Slipped it in the circle for Julian, wrapped up by Lamoureux. It squirms right in front. Miller is right there with a shot right through the crease, and there'll be a Hershey holding penalty coming up as Miller was sent sprawling to the left side of the Bears' goal by Gord Murphy, but I think the infraction occurred before that, and I think the culprit is Dave Fenves as he overtook the Skipjack player along the boards. I believe it was Ian Armstrong that he overturned. Time of the penalty will be 17:59, and the Jacks will be presented their second power play of the night. Both have come consecutively here in the second period. The Jacks are 0 for 31 on the power play in their last 6 games against the Bears. Fenves 2 minutes holding, 17:59. 2:01 left, second period. 5-1 Hershey. Face-off circle right of Young in the Hershey goal. All ready to go. Seguin digs in with Biggs. Seguin won it. Center point for Gagne. Left point for Albrecht. Along the boards for Shedden. Down low side of the goal for Seguin. Bolting in front. The backhander. Great save, Young. Rebound center point for Gagne. Left point for Albrecht with a shot, and he fired it wide. The rebound caroms off the corner boards to center. Controlled by Gagne. Gagne for Mayotte at the Hershey line on right wing, sending it in behind the goal. Young stepped out, drove it around the boards, contained right point by Gagne. Now Wayne Gagne wheels to center point, shoots, Young the save, and he'll sprawl on top of it with Sagan toppling over him at the crease. Mayotte at close quarters with McCarthy, but the linesmen are right there to separate them. 1:28 left in the period. 1:27 for the Fenves penalty that'll expire, of course, with 1 second remaining in the period unless the Skipjacks inflict damage. The Jacks trail 5-1. They've been outshot in the second period, 14-12, 31-21 throughout. Face-off circle left of Young, who entered tonight's game, allowing only 3 goals against in 187 minutes against the Jacks, or that's really exceeds more than 3 games. Sagan Lamoureux on the face-off. All ready to go. Sticks come down. Won by Lamoureux in a muscle tussle. McCarthy was upended in the circle by Sagan. Sagan curls back to the blue line. Wheels to the right boards. Sagan, side of the goal for Mayotte. Back to the right point for Gagne, right through him to center. Gagne has to retrace his steps there. Cross ice to the left wing for Albrecht. His rink-wide pass aimlessly to an open wing. Controlled all the way back at center zone by Gagne, across from Albrecht on left wing. Over the Hershey line for Shedden, top of the circle. He tried to center one in front. That was weak. Blocked by Fitzpatrick. Now Ross Fitzpatrick through center. Over the Baltimore line, wheeling to the right wing boards into the corner. Muscled there by Albrecht. Dug out behind the goal by Sagan. Steve Sagan left wing at his own line for Mayotte. Mayotte rink-wide on right wing at center for Shedden, who barrels in over the Hershey line. Pulls up top of the circle, left it there for Gagne, giving it back to Shedden. Center point for Hoover. Right in front for Brimmer. Didn't make it through, but Shedden right in front to the doorstep for no with a shot. Young closed the door. A tantalizing rebound in front. Gobbled up by Al Hill. He sends it down ice. McCarthy and Mayotte are fencing each other back in front of the Hershey goal. Mayotte punches McCarthy across the back of the helmet with his gloved left fist. Now Mayotte skates in front of the Hershey bench and issues a stern challenge. Mick Magoo, the referee, has his hands full at center ice. It occurred behind the play. The Jacks shocked Mayotte and Hershey's Kevin McCarthy. They were fencing each other from in front of the goal all the way up to the Hershey blue line before Mick Magoo caught their attention. Mayotte has departed the scene, and now McCarthy will leave as well. Mayotte skated in front of the Hershey bench and challenged them. Still 13 seconds remaining in the Skipjacks power play and 14 seconds for the middle period, with Hershey having its own way here tonight again against the Jacks, as they normally do, 5-1. Incidentally, if you're keeping records, the Jacks' only victory this season occurred in Hershey back on January 23rd when the Jacks stunned the Bears 5-3 before a standing room only crowd at Hershey Park Arena. Byron Lomo scored a pair of second period, making a pair of third period goals to snap a 3-3 tie. Mayotte receives 2 minutes for holding and a 10-minute misconduct, and McCarthy 2 minutes for holding at 19:46. They were embracing each other in a rather unfriendly fashion in front of the Hershey goal. That's how the whole incident started. Faceoff will be outside the Hershey blue line. Chuck Brimmer, only a second shift of the period and of the game in the faceoff with Murray. Murray wins it, slipped it ahead for Sean Sable, and Sable still short-handed for Hershey, backhands down ice. Hoover to collect it behind the goal as the period will run out. The horn sounds, and second period action over. The Bears strike 3 more times. The Jacks respond with their 6:21 of the second period after Hershey had constructed a 4-0 lead. From the faceoff, Bears at their own line control. Gord Murphy on the right side. Now Murphy watched by Armstrong, across on left wing for Biggs. Loftus. It struck him on the back, but he recovers it and drove it into the Baltimore left corner. Albrecht controls around the boards on right wing for Ian Armstrong at his own line, leading for No. Now JF No forced back into the zone by the forechecking persistence of Murray. Left it on the right defense for Gagne, across for Albrecht. Cliff Albrecht on left wing at center, sends it hopscotching into the Hershey left corner. Hill bumped by Miller, thumped by Armstrong, who bowled him over and steals the Armstrong backhander from the right circle over top of the net. Rebound across to the Hershey right boards for Lofthouse at his own line at center. For Smith with a shot. And putting the pants together on that one was Bannerman. Rebound control by Gagne. On right wing at center, Armstrong steaming into the Hershey line. Upended on the defense by Smith. Controlled at the Hershey left boards by Al Hill. Now Hill in the middle at center for Lofthouse coming across. Lofthouse at the Baltimore line. Working on Hoover, who falls. Lofthouse right circle right in front for Hill. The backhander pad save Bannerman. Rebound behind the goal. Hoover wraps off Lofthouse. Now Lofthouse along the right wing boards. Now Mark Lofthouse controls his pass, halted in the circle by Hoover, sent down ice for the right side by Julian. Dave Fenves will control at his own line. Dave Fenves on left wing at center, his pass halted at the Baltimore line by Julian, control back at center by Sable. Sable's pass at the Baltimore line struck Don Biggs on the leg, and that forces an offside on right wing. No further play. 18:27 left, third period. Hershey 5, the Jacks 1. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Baltimore Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. 5-1 Bears. From the faceoff, Bob Kennedy at his own line. Lugs it up the right side at center, sends it in behind the Hershey goal. Covering up is Sable. Now Sean Sable in front of his own goal. Sable at his own line. Lugs it to center on right wing. Shoots, and that one was wide. Rebound caroms up the Baltimore right boards. Brimmer steps in front of the anticipating Ross Fitzpatrick. Dishes across left corner for Moylan. Moylan's pass around the boards, halted by Sable, pinching him from the point right in front for Fitzpatrick over his stick. Back come the Jacks, Bonner to center. Graham Bonner reaches the Hershey line, dropped it for Shen with a shot right on. And Young nabbed that one with quick reflexes on the glove side. No further play. And Wendell Young continues to baffle the Jacks with his goaltending mastery. Boy, he has a quick glove, and he has fashioned it tonight on numerous occasions. The Jacks tested him. They pelted him with a 16-shot second period barrage. Face up left of Young, Hershey goal. Steve Seguin for the Jacks. Mitch Lamoureux for Hershey on the face-off. Sticks come down. One by Lamoureux in the left wing board area. Controlled by Maxwell. Around the backboards on right wing for Maxwell. Clearing to the line. Lomo holds it in. But his pass right into the right circle where Maxwell was standing, and he sends it to center. Gagne controls. He sends Steve Seguin barging in over the Hershey line. But Seguin is offside on right wing for the Jacks. No further play. 17:36 left, third period. 5-1 Hershey. And the face-off will originate barely on the Baltimore side of the center red line, which was the origination of the Wayne Gagne pass. Seguin for the Jacks, who has scored 5 of his 14 goals this season against his former team, opposing Mitch Lamoureux, who has 25 points, 7 goals, and 18 assists against the Jacks in the 12 previous meetings, though he's been limited to a mere 1 assist in the last 3 meetings between the two clubs due to the shadowing techniques and tactics of Byron Lomo. From the faceoff, Gagne at his own line, in the middle at center for Seguin, back to his own line for Gagne, across on left wing at center for Albrecht. He fired it into the Hershey zone. It caroms out the backboards, right point for Gagne, who dances right in front with a backhander, kicked out by Young. Rebound to the right point for De Palma with a shot, and Young closed the door and holds on with Seguin. Lomo having him surrounded. De Palma and Kiprios at close quarters. Across the way from us on the Baltimore offensive right wing boards. And the linesman intervened. De Palma looking to ignite something for this dormant Jack attack. 17:16 left, 5-1 Bears. They have won 3 in a row, 18 of their last 22. They've won 6 of their last 7 starts abroad. Their 16 road wins, foremost in the league. Seguin and Murray on the face-off. Mike Murray, one of 5 different Hershey goal-getters tonight. All ready to go. Sticks come down. Won by Murray, claimed for the defense behind the goal by Murphy, who rounds the net on the right side. Up the boards, at center for Lofthouse, at the Baltimore line for Murphy, didn't make it through. Blocked by Albrecht, who sends it skimming in behind the Hershey goal. Fenves is on it ahead of Sagam. Fenves pass knocked down by De Palma along the right wing boards. De Palma charges in behind the goal, centered it. Loma was wrapped up in front by Murphy, and it's fired down ice by Lofthouse. Chased down in the Baltimore left corner by Gagne, leaving it there for Albrecht. Cliff Albrecht flutters one up in the middle at center for Ian Armstrong, who hits the Hershey line on right wing. Now Armstrong from the circle with a rising shot off the right shoulder of Young. Rebound, dashing after it, left corner Armstrong behind the goal for No. No was really cracked down at the backboards by Fenves. Whistle sounds. De Palma's in the thick of it again with Murphy to the left side of the Hershey crease, as Wendell Young shakes out the cobwebs. Ian Armstrong is there. So are Dave McClay and Mike Murray on the Bears' behalf. A break of the action, 16:29 left. Hershey 5, Jacks 1 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Terry Ficcarelli rejoining you live from the Baltimore Arena. Face-off left of Young. Hershey goal, no one. At top of the circle, Miller shoots right on. And there's that Wendell Young catching glove again as he spears that one. As Keith Miller really ripped one from the top of the right circle after No controlled the draw from Biggs. Wendell Young with a 2.88 goals against average entering tonight's game. No and Biggs on the face-off, same alignment. Miller top of the circle again behind No. All ready to go. Jacks dominating early in the third period. They trail by 4. Waiting for the linesman. They present arms. Won by No. Puck skims into the corner. Biggs clears it up the boards for Fitzpatrick. Blocked by Julian. Top of the circle for No. Checked by Sable. Sean Sable through center. At the Baltimore line on left wing in the circle for Rupe. Rupe just shillelaghs it in behind the goal. Covering up deep in the Jacks left corner, Miller. Now Keith Miller will start out himself at his own line. Miller through center, hits the Hershey line. Wheels to the top of the circle, upended by Rupe, contained left point by No. No along the boards for Miller. Now Miller for No, sending Miller back into the corner for it. Miller behind the goal, centered one right off the skate of Biggs in front with Armstrong waiting for it. Now Don Biggs to center, hits the Baltimore line, drops it for Rupe, snapping the shot, kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound to the left boards for McCarthy behind the goal for Rupe. He tries to chase it down in the offensive right wing corner with Hoover draped over his back. Control behind the goal by No. Leaves it left corner for Hoover, who jolts Rupe off the puck. Now Hoover up the boards for Miller, sending it to center. Control by Gord Murphy on right wing, firing on goal, stick to side by Bannerman, who headmans it himself on right wing at his whole line for Armstrong. In the middle at center for Brimmer, past him to the Hershey line. Maxwell controls on right wing. Maxwell at center of the Baltimore line for Lamoureux, leaving for Hill, the trailer right in front for Lamoureux with a shot, a sprawling save by Bannerman. Back come the Jacks. Bonner romps to center on right wing. Bonner at the Hershey line, shoots right on. And Young gloved that one too. Sends it around the boards himself on left wing at his own line for Hill. Across on right wing at center for Maxwell. He zooms in over the Baltimore line. Kevin Maxwell centers to the crease for Hill. Loose in the crease. Oh, it was Bannerman jolting Lamoureux before he could propel the backhander. They scramble for it to the side of the goal. Digging it out finally, Brimmer for Bonner, and the Jacks are away. Bonner sends Bob Kennedy chugging to center. Kennedy over the Hershey line. Pulls up on the right point, and he backhands it right onto the stick of Smith. Now Steve Smith at center for Lamoureux on the left side, but it traveled 2 lines as Lamoureux was attempting to penetrate behind the Jacks defense. No further play on the Hershey 2-line offside pass. 14:22 left. 5-1 Hershey. Face off the origination of the Bears. Aborted pass, rim of the circle left of Young in the Hershey goal. Want to remind you the Jacks have 4 games in 5 nights next week, and 3 of them are at home. The first 2 to complete the 10-game homestand. Wednesday night, 7:30, the Jacks will launch the week's activity, hosting Springfield and Elaine Lemieux here at the Baltimore Arena. Friday night, the defending Calder Cup champion Rochester Americans pay their last call of the season. 7:30 face-off, 5,000 sets of Skipjacks playing cards from United Products Distributors and Carrier will be given away on that special night. And Home Team Sports' Jeff Rimmer, along with Channel 13's Marty Bass, will be our celebrity goaltenders. After the Jacks hit the road for their first action abroad in a month, Saturday night at Utica at 7:30 to be hosted by the Devils. They're back home Sunday night, 1 week from tonight, Sunday night at 7 to host Nova Scotia. That'll be the Jacks' first ever Dash for Cash extravaganza at center ice between periods. Also at Skipjacks Can Handlers night, 2,500 four-packs of Jacks Can Handlers will be given away, compliments of Watson's Garden Center, as well as the Bowman Restaurant. 4 games and 5 nights for the Jacks next week as we embark on the final 4 weeks of the season. All ready to go from the face-off. Won by Murray from Sagan, taken in front of the goal by Sable. Across on the right defense, and his whole line for Fenbez. In the middle at center for McClay. It danced off his stick, skimming in behind the Baltimore goal. McClay darts it after it. McClay leaves it there for Murray, rounding the net, bringing it in front. Murray shoots, Bannerman guards the door. Rebound to the left circle. De Palma just fires it down ice from there. They'll negate icing. Young behind the goal, his pass right through the legs of Lomo, lurking in the shadows on the right boards. And the puck came to center, and De Palma just directed it back into Hershey territory from right wing. And of course, Lomo and Steve Sagan were still deep in the zone, caught offside. 13:51 left. 5-1 Hershey, scoreless thus far in the third period. Sagan and Murray on the face-off. All ready to go, waiting for the linesman. Won by Murray, controlled at the Hershey line by Fenbez. Fenbez back for Murray in the middle at center. Now Mike Murray backhanding behind the Skipjack goal. Bannerman to blockade it, sending it around the right wing boards himself for Lomo. Ahead at his own line for Sagan. Sagan left wing at center for Albrecht. Shooting, stick save Young. Rebound in the left circle. McClay checked by Sagan, poking it behind the goal as he was falling. And then De Palma stolen in front from Sable. De Palma shoots and scores! Larry De Palma, Jacks trail 5-2. Skipjacks goals tonight have come on steals from the Hershey's normally reliable defense. Sean Sable that time had his pocket picked by Larry De Palma, and De Palma drilled it right off the pad of goaltender Wendell Young and through at 6:35. De Palma's first as a Skipjack. After 4 assists, De Palma unassisted. Both of the Jacks goals have been without accompaniment tonight. And it's 5-2 Hershey. Now Ian Armstrong in the middle at center. Whirls and sends it into the Hershey left corner. Young sends it up the board, stolen by Armstrong with a shot from the right circle. That was high and wide. Rebound left wing boards for Miller. Across to the right point for Julian with a shot, and he fired it wide. Rebound left corner for Miller. Behind the goal for No. No try to center one, and Rupe was there. Now Magnus Rupe through center. Rupe over the Baltimore line with a shot off the waffle board of Bannerman. Dugout left corner by Biggs. Biggs left point for Fitzpatrick, who pours right in on goal, and he fired it wide with Hoover tumbling in front. Puck in behind the goal. Rupe digs it out diligently. Now Rupe at the back of the net, rolled it right through the crease, and Hoover was on the scene to clear the line. Smith holds it in left point, though. Behind the goal for Rupe. He's muscled there by Julian, dug out by No. No up the middle at his own line for Armstrong. On left wing at center for Miller, wrapping it in behind the goal. The Jacks changed 12-17 left with Smith rounding the net on the left side. Smith on left wing at his own line for Fitzpatrick. In the middle at center for Maxwell. Crossing the Baltimore line, the drop pass for Lamoureux, failing to control that, and Kennedy in front of the goal for the Jacks. Controls on left wing at center for Brimmer. Brimmer at the Hershey line, fired one, and that was wide to the short side. Rebound to the left wing boards, dug out by Brimmer. Brimmer slipped it behind the goal for Shedden. Now Shedden wheels to the side of the goal, cracked there by Kiprios. Controlled on Hershey's right wing by Maxwell, clearing to center. Shedden controls. Doug Shedden on right wing at the Hershey line for Bonner with a shot right on. caught by Young. A rather late whistle from the linesman as the Jacks were offside. No further play. Now Brimmer at close quarters with Steve Smith, and Smith will skate away to the Hershey bench. A break on the action, 11:42 left, third period. Hershey 5, Jacks 2 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Okay, Charlie, take care. Thanks for coming over. We've got a lot of players getting married in the offseason on this team. Now from the faceoff, Bob Kennedy on right wing at center where the Jacks drove it behind the goal. There's going to be a Hershey penalty or a Jacks penalty coming up. I believe it's a Jacks penalty coming up for elbowing to Larry DePalma. And he stalks the referee, Mick Magoo, right below us in the Hershey zone in the offensive left circle. Now Mitch Lamoureux skates alongside DePalma, and Larry didn't like what Mitch had to say. And the linesman Randy Whistler has to separate those two as DePalma's route to the penalty box was detoured by the Lamoureux needling. DePalma guilty of elbowing in the offensive zone at 8:28. That is DePalma's third penalty of the night, I believe, or is it his second? So Hershey will be presented power play time. The Bears are 1 for 2 on the power play and have 96 of those on the season. DePalma 2 minutes for elbowing. His goal was unassisted 2 minutes ago at 6:35. The Jacks have never come closer than a three-goal deficit tonight. Twice now they've accomplished that feat on unassisted goals by Graham Bonner at 6:21 of the second period and Larry DePalma at 6:35 here in this third period. All ready to go, face-off outside the Baltimore blue line, or pardon me, the Hershey line. Bears control. Gord Murphy at his own line does a spinorama to avoid the check of Sagan. Across on left wing at center, Murphy for Fenves, who drove it in behind the Baltimore goal. Sagan lost his stick checking Fenves. Bannerman drove it around the left wing boards for Lomo, and Byron Lomo turns around and fires it down ice. Now Fenves from behind his own goal, right up the middle at his own line for Murphy. Murphy at center over the Baltimore line for Kipios, left circle for Lamoureux, right in front for Maxwell, and he missed the pass. But it's contained on the right point by Murphy, the trailer. Behind the goal for Lamoureux, right in front for Kipios with a shot, kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound center point contained by Murphy. His pass aimlessly into the circle. Claude Julien was waiting for it there, and he rifles it down ice for the Baltimore right defense. Behind the goal, Fenves leads crisply on left wing at his own line for Lamoureux. Mitch Lamoureux through center. Over the Baltimore line, trying to ladle one into the corner of Kiprios, cut off by Julien. He sends it around the backboards on left wing for Gagne. Now Wayne Gagne is underway. Motoring to center. Gagne darts it over the Hershey line. Right circle for Moreland. He streaks in behind the goal. Moreland tried to center one, it deflected off. Smith in front. Back behind the goal. Young is on it himself. Young drove it around the boards on left wing at his own line for Rupe. Rupe through center, Baltimore line. Left wing boards for Fitzpatrick, evading the check of Kennedy. Across to the right point for McCarthy. McCarthy right in front for Fitzpatrick. The backhander, Bannerman the save. Rebound squirms to the backboards. Fitzpatrick digs it out. Wheels to the right boards, gives it right point to McCarthy. Into the circle for Fitzpatrick, centered it. Deflected off Sagan behind the goal. Digging in for it, there is Fenves barging in from the point. Fenves across into the right corner for Fitzpatrick. Now Fitzpatrick behind the goal for Rupe. Rupe rounds the net. Gives it to Smith at the left point. Center point for McCarthy. Right in front for Fitzpatrick, who was wide open. And he fired it wide. The rebound skids into the Jacks' right corner, and Sagan launches it over the glass into the crowd as the penalty to DePalma expires. No further play. 9:28 remaining, third period. It's Hershey 5 and the Jacks 2. Face-off will occur, circle right of Bannerman. Hershey is solved. The 30-year-old 11-year veteran and former NHL 8-year star veteran of the Chicago Blackhawks only once since his arrival back at the 6:05 mark of the second period when Don Biggs sent Scott Gordon for cover under a hail of pucks. Face-off right of Bannerman, Jacks goal, 9:28 left for regulation time. The Jacks have the only goal in this period. They trail, though, 5-2. All ready to go for the face-off between Kyprios and J.F. No. The latter had a 4-game goal-scoring scheme halted in Baltimore's very impressive victory here last night against Binghamton. All ready to go. Sticks come down, puck not dropped. This will be take 2. Armstrong and Hill on the right wing boards, the defensive right wing boards, somewhat over-eager. And this will be take 2. Same principles involved. They present arms. Won by Murray. Top of the circle, Hill with Armstrong draped over his back, swept it behind the goal, covering Albrecht. Up the middle at his own line for Miller. Beyond him, all the way down ice, reached by Al Hill behind the Hershey goal, and the Skipjacks are charged for icing. 9:17 remaining in the third period, and it's 5-2 Hershey, with the face-off forthcoming again, circle right of Bannerman in the Jacks goal. And again, we want to remind you that the Jacks will launch a 4-game week in 5 nights on Wednesday night. Next week, they'll host the Springfield Indians, their first of 3 home games next week. The Jacks and the Tribe at 7:30 here at the Baltimore Arena. And then Friday night, the Jacks will host defending Calder Cup king Rochester, as 5,000 sets of Skipjacks playing cards will be given away from United Products Distributors, as well as Carrier. That's the Jacks of Rochester here at the Baltimore Arena next Friday night, 7:30. From the faceoff, J.F. No through center, over the Hershey line, left at left circle for Armstrong. Armstrong spinorama, Armstrong's backhander right on. Young the save. Rebound deep in the Hershey right corner, and Hill controls. At center for Lofthouse, romping in over the Baltimore line. Lofthouse from the circle, fired it way wide. And back come the Jacks. Ian Armstrong to center. Over the Hershey line for J.F. No through the left circle, pulling up. Poked off his stick by Murphy. Seized in front, though, by Julian with a shot. Kicked out by Young, as Julian was lurking on the periphery as the trailer. And Sable to fire it down ice. Reached behind the Jacks goal by Albrecht, and Hershey charged for icing with a break of the action at 8:33 left. It's Hershey 5, the Jacks 2 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. Now from the faceoff, Bears control at their own line. Kyprios on the left side. His pass was disrupted at center by Bob Kennedy, and he drove it back behind the goal. Now Smith right up the middle at his own line for Lamoureux. Ducking underneath the check of Moylan. Now Lamoureux in the middle at center for Kyprios, backhanding into the Skipjack left wing corner. Lomo clears to the line. The Murphy point shot is wide to the short side. Rebound to the left point for Smith with a shot. And Bannerman kicked that one over the glass into the crowd in rapier-like fashion. No further play, as the 10-minute misconduct of the Skipjack fans' people's choice. Jacques Mayotte finally expires at the 10:58 mark, make it the 11:58 mark of this third period. And Mayotte will remain on the ice, and the Skipjacks crowd responds accordingly. The face-up will originate circle right of Bannerman in the Skipjack goal. In this third period, the Jacks with 8 shots, Hershey with 7. Larry DePalma has the only goal that was unassisted, as both of the Jacks goals have been tonight. It'll be Seguin and Lamoureux on the face-off. All ready to go, waiting for the linesman. Won by Seguin. It crawls in front. The backhander by a lunging Nick Kyprios was wide. Rebound up the Jacks left boards for Mayotte. Up the boards at center for Seguin. There's going to be a Hershey penalty coming up. No, a Jacks penalty, I believe. Mayotte slash Maxwell at center zone on the left wing boards. Now DePalma challenges Sable to a fight. Deep in the Hershey right wing corner below us, DePalma has dropped his stick, and he is really lecturing Sable, who refuses to accommodate DePalma's fistic overtures. Mayotte is on the scene as well. Well, Jacques Mayotte seems to be a marked man as far as referee Mick Magoo is concerned tonight. Mayotte was taken in along the boards at center zone on left wing after he head-manned the puck to Sagam. Maxwell pinned him along the boards. Now De Palma shoves the linesman. This as he is being shoved. Now Jacques Mayotte tries to charge after Sable. So we have two rather ornery Jacks at the moment. Larry De Palma and Jacques Mayotte becoming rambunctious here. Sean Sable is standing at the open door of the Hershey penalty box. Mayotte has to be physically restrained by the linesman Randy Whistler. He waves bye-bye to Sable as he exits stage right. He's through for the night at 12-12 of the third period. De Palma and Mayotte. And they're making their presence felt here tonight. Now De Palma skates in the direction of the Hershey bench to retrieve his stick, but the linesman Steve Miller will perform the duty instead. He hands it to De Palma and will await the penalties. Now the Hershey penalty box door is swung shut and Sable has stayed out. This mayhem occurring at 12-12. Mayotte was taken in along the left wing boards at center zone by Kevin Maxwell and apparently retaliated with a slash. Jacques Mayotte. Here are the penalties. They're throwing the book at everyone. For the Jacks, Jacques Mayotte, 2 minutes for slashing in his second 10-minute misconduct of the night. Mayotte had just returned from serving 12 minutes of penalties that were assessed at 1946 with 14 seconds remaining in the second period. Mayotte, 2 minutes slashing, 10-minute misconduct. Larry De Palma, a 10-minute misconduct, and Sean Sable, a 10-minute misconduct as well. The end result, Hershey will have power play time, and for the Bears, it's their fourth power play of the night. They are 1 for 3 thus far. Keith Miller will serve the ejected Mayotte's slashing minor. Mayotte and De Palma, 10-minute misconducts, and tack on a 2-minute minor for slashing to Mayotte. And Sean Sable, the 10-minute misconduct, and they're all called at 12-12. From the faceoff, McCarthy behind the goal, rounds the net and loses the check of no. McCarthy at center over the Baltimore line and left wing for Fitzpatrick. Now Fitzpatrick centered one and Rupe in front, fired it wide. Fitzpatrick chases down the rebound right corner. Fitzpatrick to the right point for Smith. Into the circle for Fitzpatrick. Now Ross Fitzpatrick from the circle. Center point for Smith. Smith shoots. Bannerman a sliding save. Rebound in the left corner for McCarthy, who had pinched in from the point. Now Kevin McCarthy working on Julian, who cracked him down, but he slipped it behind the goal for Rupe. Rupe back to the right point for Smith. Smith loads the gun. Top of the right circle for Rupe. Shooting! And that one glanced off, I think, the shoulder of Bannerman and disappears into the crowd. Bannerman takes a seat, leaning along the left goalpost. That puck appeared to either strike him high on the shoulder or maybe the top of the mask. Oh my. Rupe inside the right circle with a rising shot, and apparently it struck Bannerman high on the right shoulder, right on the top of the shoulder, and vanished into the crowd. 7:02 left. 1:14 for the Mayotte minor, being served by Keith Miller. It has not been Miller time tonight. He has been completely closed down by the Bears. Hershey, during its current 3-game win scheme, has allowed only 4 goals against. They've only permitted two here tonight from the Jacks. Sagan Lamoureux on the face-off. Won by Lamoureux, back to the right point for Fenves, hopping over his stick all the way to center. Controlled by Lamoureux, at the Baltimore line on right wing for Kiprios. Forced wide of the boards by Lomo, but he delivers it behind the goal for Lamoureux, into the left corner for Kevin Maxwell. To the left point for Murphy. Murphy's screen shot didn't make it through. It struck Julian in front, deflects to the left boards. Controlled there by Maxwell. To the left point for Murphy, shooting! Bannerman stick save. Rebound to the left boards for Maxwell. Behind the goal for Lamoureux. Lamoureux back along the boards for Maxwell into the corner, pulling up. Now Kevin Maxwell from the top of the circle fires right through the crease with Lamoureux breezing by and failing to convert. Contained right point by Fenves. Side of the goal for Lamoureux, right in front for Kyprios to the crease for Lamoureux and Bannerman the save. Puck into the left corner for Maxwell. Now Maxwell does a pirouette past the check of Sagan. The circle still has it. Pulls up along the left wing boards. Maxwell centered it. Deflected neatly to center by the extended stick of Sagan. Controlled by Murphy. Murphy on right wing at center, drove it behind the goal, and Claude Julien is there, rifling it around the right wing boards, down ice. The penalty is over, Miller is on. 5:47 left, 5-2 Bears. Murphy in front of his own goal on left wing at his own line for Fenves. Across on right wing at center with Lofthouse over the Baltimore line. Skated off by Bonner, controlled behind the goal by Albrecht. He snaps it around the right wing boards at his own line for Gagne. Wayne Gagne springs to center, over the Hershey line, wheels across to the top of the left circle, centered it. Miller in front was skated off by Smith. Dug out left corner though by Bonner. Bonner to the left point for Albrecht, loading the gun, shooting a sprawling block by Murray as he was fearless on that one. Controlled along the Hershey offense or right boards by McCarthy. At center for Murray, beyond him into the Baltimore zone. Controlled on the Jacks defense by Kennedy. His lead pass traveled 2 lines, and once Wayne Gagne touched it, the Jacks are called on the offside on right wing at center ice. No further play. 5:02 remaining for third period action. It's 5-2 Hershey. The face-off will be the origination of that ill-fated Jacks 2-line pass, barely inside their blue line, across the way from us on their right wing. We have not seen much of Doug Shedden in this third period. In fact, he has unfastened his helmet. He is still wearing it, but it's unfastened. Shedden sustained a Charlie horse very early in this game when he crashed the crease, and in the crush at the crease, he just banged into the goalpost. He actually had put the puck in the net. He propelled it into the net, but the net had already been lifted off its moorings from the force of the Shedden impact. Shedden has played sparingly since. From the faceoff, Kevin McCarthy on right wing at center, reaches the Baltimore line, drifting it behind the goal. Julien will control that one. Barely escaping the clutches of Al Hill. Now Julien up on right wing at his own line for Ian Armstrong, and he steers into Hershey territory. McCarthy back puddles. On the left boards for Smith. Steve Smith at center for Murray, reaching the Baltimore line. Murray through the right circle, pulls up along the boards, top of the circle for McCarthy. The shot didn't make it through. Blocked by No, deflects right corner for Lofthouse, right in front for Hill. The backhander kicked out by Bannerman. Rebound of the Baltimore right boards for Armstrong. Up the boards at center for No, knocked away by Smith and controlled center circle by Hill. Al Hill just scales it off the glass on right wing and behind the Jacks goal. Covering is Julien, rounding that on the right side. Angling it up on left wing at center for JF. No. Released off his stick by Rupe. Rink wanted left wing for Fitzpatrick on the Baltimore line. Is centering pass meant for Biggs in front. A sprawling block made there by Julien. Control along the Jacks right boards by Armstrong. He nudged it outside the line to center. He topples after Fenves dumped him right on top of the puck, barely outside the Skipjack blue line. No further play. A break of the action. 3:51 left. Hershey 5, the Jacks 2 on the Skipjacks Hockey Network. We have to announce it though? Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's a programming note. That's a programming note. Yeah, that's no problem. Now from the faceoff, Fitzpatrick steps into the Baltimore line, around Miller, but there to ride him off was Kennedy. And Keith Miller just sends it to center, where on left wing, Fenves returns it behind the Baltimore goal. Now Big Bob Kennedy for the Jacks. His pass deflected off Moylan to the right boards. Fitzpatrick is there to seize it. Fitzpatrick wheels in behind the goal, jabbed off his stick by Moylan, who clears to the blue line. Contained there by Murphy. Murphy dishes right corner boards for Rupe, given a rough ride by Moylan, who really thumped him. They continue to jostle forward at the backboards. Moreland and Rupe. Rupe digs it out, centers it. Left circle, Fenves shoots and scores! Dave Fenves, and Hershey leads 6-2. Fenves had poured from the left point into the circle, escaping notice of the Jacks defenders. And Magnus Rupe, who has really dug diligently along the boards all night long with a crisp centering pass across, and Fenves just rings it home. Boy, he rang that one upstairs. And for Fenves, his 8th, and that's his 2nd against the Jacks. Magnus Rupe with his 3rd assist, and I'll tell you, he's been the chairman of the boards tonight for Hershey. He has just commandeered play in the offensive zone in the corner and along the boards. What a prospect he is for the Flyers. Fenves from Rupe at 17:08. From the face-off, Jacks will start out at their own line. Graham Bonner striding to center over the Hershey line for Brimmer. Brimmer pulls up on the right board, shooting, and that was wide to the short side. Rebound up the Hershey right boards for Maxwell. Returning it out of harm's way behind the goal for Smith, rounding the net. In pursuit, Brimmer, who nearly steals. Now Smith at center for Maxwell. It traveled 2 lines, and the Bears are called on the offside. No further play. 2:12 remaining. It's a 6-2 Hershey lead on Fenves, 8th from Rupe at 17:08. We have a programming note. Cornerstone Church of Christ will be aired at 12 midnight tonight on our flagship station, WITH. And we want to pass that programming note along to you that Cornerstone Church of Christ will be aired at 12 midnight tonight on our flagship station, WITH. Mesa will be barely inside the the Hershey blue line. Late in the evening on Sunday night. Now Albrecht from the left point shoots right on. And Wendell Young guides that one over the glass into the crowd, deep in the Hershey left wing corner. No further play. 2:06 remaining, 3rd period. We want to welcome all of our Skipjack radio network affiliates tonight. WASA-AM and WHDG-FM serving Havre de Grace, the Eastern Shore region, and all of Harford County. In addition to that, we want to welcome WTTR, servicing Carroll County in Westminster, as well as WMSS, serving Hershey, Middletown, along with Harrisburg and York, PA. From the face-off, Miller from the top of the slot fired it wide. The rebound right in front. No try to wedge one in on the short side, and Young stood his ground. Puck behind the goal, and Fenves pins Armstrong to the backboards, while Keith Miller does the same to Dave McClay, directly behind the Hershey goal, and that halts action with 1:52 remaining. That'll produce a face-off circle left of Young in the Hershey goal. And many of the fans here tonight, numbering 3,000, will begin to file to the exits. It's a 6-2 Hershey lead with 1:52 remaining. The Bears with 2 unanswered first period goals late in the period. Fitzpatrick and Murphy striking a minute and a half apart with only 4:15 left in the period. A 3-goal second period uprising broke it wide open for the Bears. The 2 teams trading goals here in the 3rd period. Both the Jacks goals have been unassisted. Graham Bonner and Larry DePalma in the 2nd and 3rd periods respectively. From the faceoff, Keith Miller wheels in the middle at center. On right wing, Furneaux. No step sit over the Hershey line, working on Biggs. No jitterbugs in front, wheels to the left circle. Still has it, no try to center one. Blocked by Biggs as No is dropped in the circle by Murphy. Don Biggs to center over the ball on right wing for Rupe, returning it to Biggs in front, behind him, and away go the Jacks. Miller to center at the Hershey line, couldn't control. Controlled instead by Murphy. Murphy on left wing at center for Fitzpatrick. Beyond him down ice. Julian on the touch behind the Jacks goal. Then Hershey is charged for icing. 1:10 remaining in this one. And Hershey will claim its 4th consecutive victory. It'll be the Bears' 14th win in their last 16 starts and their league-high 17th win on the road. And the Jacks will go winless on home ice in all 7 of their decisions this season against the Bears. And the Bears, dating back to last season, will extend their unblemished scheme here in Baltimore to 8 straight, 7 wins at a time. And the Jacks will have won only one of the last 16 meetings between these 2 rivals. Now Steve Smith from behind the goal. Up on left wing at his own line for Kiprios. In the middle at center, Lamrou threw him to the Baltimore line. The puck contained, though, on the left side by Kiprios with a minute left. Now Seguin from behind his own goal. Steve Seguin underway, motoring to center, drifting it into the offensive right wing corner, charging after it. Lomo centered it. Right circle for Seguin. Back to the right point for Kennedy. Checked by Kiprios, who takes over. Kiprios at center for McCarthy over the Baltimore line on right wing for Kevin Maxwell. Maxwell tried to swerve through the circle, skidded off by Moreland. And then Seguin was toppled by Maxwell at the offensive right boards. It comes back to center circle where Nick Kiprios tried to rifle one into the Baltimore zone, and that deflected right off the skate of Byron Lomo and soared into the crowd, and that one really penetrated like a laser. And Byron Lomo will try to skate that one off with 29 seconds remaining. Hershey has 40 shots tonight. The Jacks 34. It's 6-2 Bears. The first 4 goals against Scott Gordon, who was chased for cover at the 6:05 mark of the second period. Murray Bannerman rushed in, and he has allowed 2 goals, 1 in each period, since his arrival. Now from the faceoff, Kevin McCarthy at the center red line on right wing, back the other way for Smith. Now Smith on right wing, rink wide for Loftus at the Baltimore line. It jumped over his stick to the side of the goal. Bannerman drove it into the corner. McClay was waiting for it. Dave McClay to the right point for McCarthy. He shanked the shot in behind the goal. Digging it out there is Brimmer. Check there. They continue to jam for it to the side of the goal, lifting the net almost on top of Bannerman, forcing him to vacate as the whistle sounds. Brimmer and Moylan were there for the Jacks, as was Dave McClay, creating congestion for the Bears. 5 seconds remaining in this one, and the Jacks' season's high 4-game unbeaten streak will come to an abrupt halt against their nemesis from Hershey here tonight. And the Bears will prevail again over the Jacks. They have just owned Baltimore the last 2 years. Seguin and Murray on the faceoff. Won by Murray to the right point for McCarthy, loading the gun, shooting, kicked out by Bannerman as the horn sounds, and this hockey game is over. The Hershey Bears claim their 4th consecutive